Hi everyone, I'm Shelly from There's No Place Like Home at redheadmom8.wordpress.com. Back to school time is starting up right now for a lot of people, and around where we live, kids are going to be going back to school next month. So there's something that I wanted to talk to you about today if you are a traditional school parent, and that are those celebratory back to school memes. I get it, they're supposed to be funny. Every year there's viral memes going around of mothers, floating in their pool with a nice, martini next to them as their sad kids stand behind them with their backpacks getting ready to go to their first day of school. Or you might find those video clips on the news stations showing parents literally jumping up and down and cheering as the bus drives away on that first day of school. And we need to talk about that, because I've been there. My kids used to be in school. I used to do those same sorts of things, maybe not to that extent, but yeah, I used to kind of celebrate when my kids would go back to school, because since my kids were in school for most of the year, almost all day long, I just didn't know how to be with my kids. I didn't know how to handle it, and I just didn't have the patience for it. But I'm finding it really, really difficult in this day and age to understand how that mentality is still prevalent. Because never mind the fact that you have parents openly celebrating their children going back to school, but on the other end, you have teachers also posting back to school memes, except their back to school memes are of them being depressed and frustrated because they know that they're going to have those awful kids back in school again. So, let's look at this from a child's perspective. You have parents on one end jumping up and down and celebrating because they're going to be headed back to school. And then on the other end, you've got the teachers lamenting the fact that their freedom is over and that they are now going to be tasked with having to deal with these kids again. What are kids supposed to do? Why is it that our society sees them as being nothing but a nuisance? And that's not a very politically correct way to say it, but that's the way kids are treated nowadays. They're treated by the public as if they're a nuisance. And that all, I just find it extremely interesting that the reason that parents think these things, the reason that parents can't be around their kids is because of all the time that their kids spend in school. It's a vicious cycle, okay? And now, even going beyond that, beyond the parents who are jumping up and down at their kids leaving for school, or the teachers, being depressed that they had to go back to school with their students again. But you know what? School is not like it used to be anymore. Because today kids in school, they don't just have to deal with bullying, which they still do, or drugs, which they still do, or, predatory teachers, which, yeah, guess what? That's a pretty common thing right now. Predatory teachers who think that it's okay to have relationships with their students. All right, so it's not just those things going on. You've got schools where kids have to go through metal detectors to get in school. You've got schools where anyone who enters the building has to have their driver's license run through a machine, which I totally get it. That is for the student's safety. But it's sad that that has to even be there to begin with. Then you've got school resource officers. Yes, a lot of schools today have to have school resource officers. Police officers patrolling schools because they are so unsafe. All right? On top of that, you've got school shootings, school stabbings. You have companies trying to make money off of bulletproof backpacks because that is where we are at in a society with our kids today, or with our schools today. And yet we have parents posting memes of them celebrating the fact that their kids are going back to school and they get to have back their freedom again. I beg you to think about this. These kids are going into a potentially volatile situation in these schools today. A lot of kids are scared. A lot of kids are troubled, and a lot of kids are dealing with so much stuff as they're going back into school, back into that environment where they know they have to be there all day long for 9 months out of the year, all year. And the parents are just celebrating their freedom, that they don't have to worry about their kids for that portion of the day anymore. I beg you to please, please reconsider this attitude that you're having towards your children, because as funny as it may seem on the surface, our schools today are not funny. It is not a funny situation, and it certainly isn't something that should be laughed at. So that's all that I'm going to bring to you today, but it really is something that I felt had to be said. So anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I ask that you would share this video. You know, help people to see a new perspective on things. Help them to see that these things are not okay. And if you like what I had to say today, or if you would like to hear more about homeschooling, which is what I usually talk about, I would ask that you would subscribe. If you like what I do, I would encourage you to visit me on Patreon. If you support me there, there are all kinds of neat deals that you can get there. And most of all, again, share this video so that people can see what they're possibly doing to their kids by showing these attitudes. Have a great day.